Okay. God called me to lead this nation. He called me to be president. And I want to say November 2024, I had spent like 6 months in prayer because I like to get validation and confirmation on top of the validation before I even do anything. And I had recorded the video. I think it was Strength and Shield podcast #1. And once God gave me that confirmation, I recorded another video. I never got a chance to release it because once I recorded it, and excuse me, I'm misfiring because there are substances being spewed into the atmosphere where I am in an attempt to destroy my brain. But the enemy is defeated, right? But I actually went and recorded a video saying what God had told me. And God had told me, he said, listen, get your name on the ballot and I will do the rest. And if you remember in that Strength and Shield podcast #1, I was contemplating on whether or not I should get my name put on the ballot. And I expressed to everyone under the sound of my voice, or everyone who had listened to that podcast, I expressed to them that, I was seeking God as regards his directives and his confirmations. So I remember when I got the confirmation, I recorded a video. I was walking, I had the sunlight to my back. And I was clean cut that day. I had on a suit of clothes with some hard bottoms. And I was walking with the sun at my back, recording my shadow, saying that, okay, God told me to go ahead and get my name on the ballot. And, he would do the rest. That video somehow went missing. But as soon as I recorded that video, these people have access to everything, right? So as soon as I recorded that video, that's when the attack started. I recorded that video late November, early December. And late January was when I started being attacked by the Trump supporter, the police officer Trump supporters. We'll leave it at that. So God told me to screen record this video because I know y'all getting that. And a lot of people are wanting to know what targeted individuals are and who targeted individuals are and who are these people that's targeting them and why. Listen to this young lady. This is the best explanations that I've heard to date. And the reason why I say it's the best explanations that I've heard to date regarding individuals being targeted is because a lot of things that she's saying is confirming what the Holy Spirit had revealed to me. So listen to this.
Hi family, Stephanie here, and I am really passionate about this video. It is a video for the person out there who is suffering and confused and cannot understand what it is they're coming up against. And I am here to tell you that they are working very hard to keep you from the truth. That is the essence of this. Have you ever stopped to wonder, why does it take so many people and so much effort to come against just one individual? What is it? Have you ever wondered, just what is it about you that would make someone or something devote so much energy and effort into sabotaging your life? It really makes you want to stop and think. And I hope that will grab you because there's something to that. There is a reason. And if you haven't figured it out yet, they are working very hard to keep you from waking up to that truth. They are trying very hard to distract you, to control you with fear, to keep you from discovering and connecting with your purpose and with God. They are trying to dim your light. And I'm here to tell you, they only have as much power as you give them. Because once you tap into your relationship with God, your purpose, your strength, and your light, they're not battling you anymore. They are battling the forces that you stand in, that you stand within, that is within you. They are coming up against God and his purpose and his anointing and his calling on your life. So once you tap into that, my friends, they're not up against you anymore. And that is what they are so afraid of. They will do everything possible to keep you running around, chasing your tail, to keep you from discovering this. It involves organizations, it involves institutions. Yes, it involves technology, it involves all of that. But what they want you to run around doing is trying to figure out who's responsible, documenting everything, trying to prove it to somebody, and it's all futile. I'm telling you, it's futile. They are feeding off your reaction. They are feeding off of your fear. They are feeding off of your confusion. And once you wake up to the truth of what this really is, then you are a threat to them. That is why they are trying so desperately hard to keep you isolated and afraid. And you do not have to live that way, my friends. You do not. God did not give us a spirit of fear. And I know it's terrifying. I know it is. When you are facing, whether it's hacked devices or a smear campaign or the betrayal of every single person you love and trusted, it is excruciating and it is terrifying and it is confusing. I am not discounting that. What I am telling you is it is possible to move beyond those things. It is possible to become untouchable to these entities coming against you. Have you never wondered, with all of your documenting and all of the people you have maybe tried to prove this to, or maybe you've kept it to yourself, thinking that you've lost your mind? You are not crazy, you are not paranoid, you are aware. There is a quote that says, paranoia is nothing more than total awareness. Now, I know this doesn't apply to everyone, but you're not crazy.
Now, I had to pause to say this. The targeting didn't just start with me when God called me to step into leadership, right? It started a long time ago. And I remember my first time me realizing that, okay, this is not normal, was when I moved to Houston, Texas for the first time. And the targeting was so bad. I mean, listen, I honestly believe these are entities that's targeting Americans, and I'm talking about Americans, people that have gifts, talents, and abilities, right? So I honestly believe that that's what the targeting is. But I'll speak more on that later. Let's continue.
You're not paranoid. You are chosen. There is a difference. The enemy would not be working so hard, working overtime, night and day, in your dreams, in your waking life, everywhere you go, if you were not a threat. Just think about that in logical terms. Why? And that's the number one question that is asked of every targeted individual or every person that's undergone these attacks. If you go to try to tell someone this, and most likely you're telling someone that's involved, just know that. So they're going to gaslight your experience. But what I'm telling you is that the first question that someone is going to ask you is, why would anyone do that? Why would the government do that? Why would they? Why would law enforcement do that? Why would your family do that? And I'm telling you, friends, it is not those people in particular. It's not those entities in particular. It is the influence that they are under. It is no more, it is no different than you running around trying to figure out who made and who drove the nail into Christ that killed him. Your focus is on the wrong thing. Yes, it involves technology. Yes, it involves all of the agencies and entities I just mentioned. But it is because they are under the influence of darker forces. Please hear me. The narcissist that you've been battling, the monitoring you've been experiencing, the surveillance, the smear campaigns, all of it. it's again no different than, think about, and if you're not, I'm not trying to be religious here. This is a spiritual principle. And many of you have experienced this in the church. I was just reading this morning. And we have to think about the Sadducees and the Pharisees were very religious people, and they are the ones that came up against Christ. There are people in the churches too. So, where I would have thought and did think the church is a safe place to run, and I'm not saying they're all bad by any means, but you can very much experience this in the church as well. So, anybody who it can be a vessel for the enemy can and will be used to sabotage your life, to create confusion, to discredit you, and to keep you from the very truth of what is happening to you. So even if you've gotten to the point where you're like, okay, I understand that this is what they call gang stalking, which is, I don't like the term, but that's what we're going to have to use. Organized harassment, just whatever you're comfortable with. But for the sake of reaching people, let's talk about gang stalking. If you've gotten to the point that you understand that's what's happening, that's a step, because a lot of us spend a lot of time not even understanding that much, just thinking we're in the twilight zone somehow and can't understand like what's going on, like why. It's absolutely baffling. So if you've gotten to the point where you can find this video, so you know the term gang stalking, you might be trying to go down rabbit holes and find answers as to who is responsible. What organization is responsible? Is it a secret society? Is it the government? Is it MK Ultra? Is it's yes, 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 and yes. It's all of that. But you have to look a little bit deeper, my friends. It's no different than when Judas betrayed Christ. He was a disciple. He was one of the closest people to Christ. So you can look at that as the people that are close to us. They may have been loyal at one point. They may be your day one. But what happened was, it says in Scripture that Satan entered the heart of Judas. So this is what happens to the people around us. They may or may not be aware. It depends on the level to which they are involved. There's no like hard and fast rule as to what how much they're aware that they're under the influence of darker forces, but many people are aware. And it's no different. Any empty vessel, any lukewarm vessel, can and will be used by the enemy to come against you, to create self-doubt, to gaslight you, to distract you, to cause you to be fearful, to isolate you. These are all tactics of the enemy. It is by design that we are scattered and we are cloaked in isolation, because if it takes a gang, if you will, or that many people to come against just one of us, to knock out just one of us, can you imagine how afraid they are that all of us would connect? Just think about that for a minute. If they are that afraid of just one of us, and maybe you don't, I understand where it doesn't feel like that. Like, they're not the ones that are afraid. They're imposing terror and harassment and literally terrorizing, harassing, monitoring, smearing you. All of this. I understand that you're thinking, well, they don't seem afraid, but they operate in numbers. They have traded in their loyalty to you, let's say an individual, for something very temporary. It may be monetary gain, it could be envy, it could be anything. And there are certain behaviors that lend itself to entrance by the enemy. So if you are trying to deal with this by numbing yourself with substances, please don't. This isn't out of judgment. It is, I'm telling you this because it gives the enemy access to you. It discredits you. If they can pigeonhole you into a category of being mentally unstable or having substance abuse issues, it immediately discredits you. This is a very orchestrated attempt against your life. Make no mistake, you are not imagining things if this is happening to you. They will attack your finances. They want you homeless. They want you friendless. They want you isolated. They want you terrified. They they want you pinned in a corner, and their power, my friends, is an illusion, and it crumbles. It crumbles in the light of truth, and they are hoping you'll never find it. Now, the ultimate capital T, truth is Christ, and He tells us, I am the way, the truth, and the light. But if you're not there yet, if you are not, this is again not a religious thing, but eventually you will get there. If you will just open your mind and your heart a little bit and call out to God, I promise you He will send an army in your defense. There is victory over this. My favorite anagram for fear is false evidence appearing real. And it's not that it's not real what's happening, but their power is an illusion. If they've orchestrated a smear campaign against you, for instance, then what can come out of that is, if you're forced into isolation, you stop caring, you stop seeking the validation of others. So all of these tactics that are being used to harm you, God will use for your refinement. This is not hype. I'm telling you, when you have been smeared and you're in isolation, and if you don't have to do it physically, but, even emotionally prostrate yourself before God and say, please help me. I just want to understand. He will come to your rescue. He will show you things. He will show you truth. He will give you comfort. He will give you strength. And it doesn't sound like, as I'm sitting here saying this, that will ease the pain of the betrayal of someone that you loved, or the abuse and trauma you have suffered from a narcissist. But ultimately, I promise you, it will. It will comfort you. God will comfort you. He will show you the truth of what's happening. And once you see it, you cannot unsee it. It doesn't matter what tactic you're talking about. And please do not become distracted with all of the technology and all of you can't name a tactic that is bigger than God Himself. We are talking about the God who holds the stars in place, who could breathe life into existence, speak it into existence with a word. They are. It doesn't matter if you're talking about V2K, directed energy, hacking your devices, smear campaigns, being followed, being headlights. It doesn't matter. It's not bigger than God. None of it is. His protection is far greater. If you are watching this video, you are still standing and there is still hope. And you have to take a stand. They are not bigger than you. And if they were more powerful than you, they would come at you one-on-one. But they're not. The only antidote for darkness is to introduce light. And you are light. I can make a prediction if you are watching this video, if you have been targeted in this manner, if you are coming against any of the things I just talked about, you are a kind, empathetic, loving individual who may have made mistakes like all of us. The enemy will use those to come in and say, "You're not so special. You don't have a purpose. Why would God use you? You've done A, B, C, D, and E." Well, my friends, that's exactly what makes you valuable in the Lord, in, for God's kingdom. You can go to a homeless person and say, "I have been there." You can go to someone who has fought tooth and nail for their survival against a narcissist and say, "You can do this. I've been there." You have a unique ability to comfort others who have been there. I don't care what the tactic is. I don't care what has come against you. God will use that to refine you and to help someone else. And they do not want you to know this. The enemy hopes you will never discover how powerful you are, how bright your light is, and what a threat you are to the kingdom of darkness. The only way to fight gang stalking, the only way to come against the enemy is with God's help. That's it. Christ gave us authority over these people, these demons, these anything, any dark forces, because our battle, please read. And I have a subscriber or somebody who always is commenting. His whole screen name is Read Ephesians 6:12. Couldn't be more appropriate. Hey, Carlton, I'm telling you, read Ephesians 6:12. Our battle is not against flesh and blood. It is against principalities and authorities and rulers and dark forces of this world. And I get it a little jumbled every time. So read it for yourself. That should motivate you to read it for yourself. But I'm telling you, that is our battle. And you cannot fight it as you, just your carnal self, all by yourself. You are no match for the kingdom of darkness. But you, in the kingdom of light, with God's help, you are the only thing that can defeat darkness. I hope that made sense. What I'm trying to say is, carnally, we are no match for that. But when we are connected to God, when we claim the authority that Christ has given us, you are what they fear the most. And you would not be attacked if you were not a threat. And you may not see it. I didn't see it. They see it before you do. I promise you. If you are under attack, there is something about you. There is a calling on your life. There is an anointing and there is a light. There is something of light in you that the enemy is working very hard to keep hidden and isolated and afraid. Please watch some of my other videos on this. But I'm telling you, this is an illusion. Their power is an illusion. If it's a smear campaign, and I know I'm not saying this is easy, but I'm telling you, if it's a smear campaign, let them talk. If it's a betrayal, please understand it's someone in your life that chose to be disloyal, and you don't want. God is showing you they are not meant for you. If you are in a place where this is coming against you, it could be a narcissistic relationship, it could be in the workplace, it could be where you live. If you are being monitored, let them monitor. Don't react. Do not give them the food that they are feeding off of, which is your heightened emotion, your fear, your reactions. And please, my friends, don't give them a reason to say, to count you out, to count your voice out by saying you're emotionally unstable, by saying you have a substance abuse problem. If you do, work on it. This does not count you out from being loved and chosen by God. I'm telling you, your testimony will help somebody else that's struggling with the same thing. I don't care what it is. I don't care if it's pornography, if it's drugs, if it's homelessness, if it's robbery. I don't care what you have done, what you have lived for, lived through. God will use that. If you're not familiar with Paul, who wrote 27 of the books of the New Testament, again, I'm not getting religious on you, but hear me. This man was killing Christians. He wrote Ephesians, Galatians, Corinthians. This man had a transformation on the road to Damascus where he saw the face of Christ. And God used him in the most powerful of ways. This is a man who was killing people. God has a knack for using the least of us, the people who have been hurt, who have made the most mistakes. Your testimony is all that more powerful. So don't count yourself out, my friends, and recognize that these attacks are from the enemy. Read the story of Job. Job was a righteous man. I'm sure far more righteous and lived better than what I did. And Satan attacked him, took everything from him, his home, his family, his livelihood. He had sores all over his body. It says his wife couldn't even stand his breath. This man did nothing, but it was a win for God because Satan challenged God and he said, you know, Job is so faithful to you because you've blessed him so much. And God said, okay, I'll let you take things from him. But I'm telling you, this man is not going to turn. And he didn't. And Job's life was restored sevenfold. He did get frustrated. Job did get frustrated. He did cry out to God, like, what have I done? Why is this happening? And the enemy might be telling you it's because of something you did. No, it's not. It is something, it is who you are at your core. If you were not a threat, Satan would leave you alone and move on to someone who is. I'm telling you, please consider what I'm saying to you because I hate to sound cliche about the truth setting you free, but their power is an illusion. They have you so spun up in your head, confused, and terrified. If they're watching, let them. But I say this, it's easier said than done. But they're going to watch. We know that spiritually there are monitoring spirits. Job, I'm sorry, well, I'm talking about Job, but as far as Job, Satan or God asked Satan, "What are you doing?" And he said, "I'm roaming the earth." He roams the earth seeking who he can devour. They're watching. These spirits watch. They watch in your private moments. If they're watching you on the carnal level with following you, let them. Just don't react. And I know it's scary. I do know this. And it's baffling. But once you understand the answers, it's not so scary. The pieces start to fall into place. And you recognize that it is them who's afraid. It's like the big bad wolf, you know, huffing and puffing and you being terrified, but build your house on not on sand, but on solid rock. That is the foundation. It is God. I'm telling you, this is spiritual warfare, and you are being attacked because you are a threat. Please, my friends, just give it some thought because banded together, our light banded together is something that they dread and they fear, and they have tried very hard to keep from happening. They have tried to isolate every one of us and to dim our light and to discredit us. And we don't have to let it happen. Stronger is he who is in you than he who is in the world. And yes, Satan is the ruler of this world, but you have in you something so much stronger, and the enemy is terrified. So make him quiver. Just stand straight. Just wake. up, my friends. Wake up to who you are. Tap into the power that's available to you so that we can overcome darkness, because you can't fight darkness with darkness. You have to introduce light. So please, my friends, even if it's just a baby step, do what you can. Cry out to God. That's what it took for me. It's almost Paul said, "Consider it pure joy, my friends, when you face trials of many kinds." He doesn't mean jump for joy, but it means that you have the opportunity to be in a position to be backed into a wall where your only option and your only hope is God. And that is a blessing, my friends. It's called the gift of desperation, because there are people who waltz through this world who are completely self reliant and never have to reach out for the hand of God and see the face of Christ. And this is a blessing. You have an opportunity to live your purpose, to be of use to God. Your mistakes will be used to help someone else. Your triumph over this is so powerful, my friends. It's so powerful. So please turn the tables. Consider what I'm saying, because it is the only defense against gang stalking. It is the only defense against the enemy. And that's exactly what this is. Christ was not killed by a nail. He was killed by the enemy, and the enemy entering the people and around him and being used to. He went through the same thing. He had to move in secret. They tried to catch him in his words. Of course, we're not Christ. We're not perfect. I'm not saying that. Read the story of David. Read the story of Job. The Bible, once you awaken to this and you go back through the Bible, you see that it is filled with stories of people just like you. And if you are being attacked, there is a reason. And surely someone has said to you, if you mustered the courage to speak about this to someone, surely they've said to you, well, but why would anyone do that? And I'm giving you that answer. Because in you is light. In you is something that the enemy is terrified that you will fulfill, that you will discover, and that you will tap into. You know, being chosen is a two-way street. You have to say, yes, God, I'm in. But you have clearly been chosen for this trial, and you can overcome it. And you can say, yes, God, I'm in. Use me how you want. I will take these trials. Every single thing you have been through has built your resilience, your determination, your perseverance, your discernment. Every time you get betrayed, every time you walk into a trap, you have honed your discernment. Believe me, you have. You probably have what they call intuition, which is the Holy Spirit, like nobody else. You are able, you can feel it. Can you not feel it when something is off? When someone is off? When some place is off? It's because you've been through this over and over and over. And you may just now be waking up because of gang stalking, but look back over your life. Look back from the beginning. The enemy's been working on you since day one. God knew you from before you were in the womb, and Satan saw your light come in this world, and he's been just hammering away at you ever since. Whether you were raised by a narcissist, whether you got involved with a narcissist, whether you were the black sheep, whether you were ostracized, picked on, it's the same story over and over of people just like us. So do not be distracted anymore. Do not be gaslit into thinking that you're crazy, that you're paranoid, that you're just imagining things. We all know different, and you don't have to prove that to anyone. It is the truth without a witness, and your story does not need to be validated by not one person. But what is important is that you tap into your relationship with God. I'm telling you, not from a religious standpoint, it is your only escape out of this, and you can do more than survive. You can thrive, and you can find your purpose. And yes, it feels like a steep hill upward, and it is, I won't lie. But there's a lot of little, like, guide shots along the way, joy and fulfillment, and things you can never imagine. A high and a euphoria that cannot be had any other way. I'm telling you, my friends, you are special and you are chosen, and you need to step into that and quit letting the enemy dictate your actions, dictate your emotions, dictate your circumstances. I love you. I love you all,
I didn't mean to
and
send
I'll
it to
see you
you
soon.
It's
from
okay.
your
Okay.
I
because I
forgive you.
went to the fucking ATM and it's saying my card isn't
Business
valid.
owners and
And I can't
salespeople,
do
the
anything
fastest
about
way
it.
to massive confidence and
Okay,
success
hold on.
is programming your subconscious mind using the power of hypnosis. There's a reason why the CIA and military has spent millions of
I don't know
dollars
if they closed my
investing in
account, but I'm
hypnosis
supposed to
and
get paid.
studying the mind. This